Hello everyone, I'm Brian Monahan, Superintendent of Minisink Valley. I want to take a moment to say thank you for meeting with us in this fashion. We are glad to have the opportunity to take the questions you provided us and use them as a framework to provide some additional information and answers to you regarding our reopening plans. Please be sure to read our reopening plan on our website, www.minisink.com, as it provides a tremendous amount of information. We are looking forward to welcoming our students back to Minisink Valley. We recognize that nothing could have prepared us for this current situation and the abrupt way we ended our in-person instruction in March. We have been working what almost seems to be a non-stop pace since remote instruction ended in June to plan for September's reopening. I know the start of the school year is completely different than any of us have ever expected. We also understand our students, families, and staff are still adjusting to the continued realities of an ongoing pandemic environment as the reopening of schools gets closer. It's important again to stress that every decision we make as part of our fluid planning always puts student and staff health and safety as our first priority and obligation. I want to give special emphasis to this. Just about all of us working at Minisink Valley have school-age children. Many of us live in this community. Many of you know I live in this community. I have 3 sons who attend Minisink Valley schools. As superintendent, I am responsible for this district's overall operations, and I am so proud and honored to work alongside the very talented and creative people who have been working extremely long days and nights for the last 2 months to develop, shape, and reshape our reopening plans. Our reopening plan work is based on limited and changing guidance, and we are committed to the very best we are capable of doing, given the restrictions we must open our buildings under. But we are also doing our work using the lens of being concerned and caring parents. Everything we do is based on maintaining good health and safety of our students. As a father, I am confident in the plans our team continues to refine and finalize. I am equally confident that all of our plans represent our very best efforts to put health and safety first, with a parallel emphasis on student success and achievement. However, I know these plans create unexpected issues that are upsetting to some. We understand that. That's not our intention. But we need you all to realize that for much of this, we have absolutely no choice but to organize our school year the way we have. We must adhere to the rules and regulations placed on us. We need you to understand this, and we will look to be as supportive and as we can to help you as you navigate the issues that may not have needed to be addressed in the past. We are confident this staged transition back into school will work best for our Minisink school community, given the constraints we have. We know not everyone will be happy, but we also believe everyone understands the rationale for our plans. Our sincerest hope is that at some point in the school year, we can all return back to our traditional in-school model where everyone is in our buildings 5 days a week. Right now, that is not possible. We need everyone to remain adaptable and flexible. It's quite probable that our plans will be adjusted on a regular basis. Please bear with us as this situation continues to evolve on a daily basis. All of us at Minisink Valley appreciate your patience and support of our work. Some important reminders that our medical director, Dr. Sarah Little, wants to remind you all. Number 1, make sure your children know the right way to wash their hands. 2, make sure your children know how to properly use hand sanitizer. 3, get your children used to wearing masks now. Masks are required for school. Your child's building will review the mask break policy with you as opening nears. Make sure your children know they must follow all the social distancing requirements. 5, parents must complete a required daily health check. You'll be doing this online through an app and more details will follow. This needs to be done prior to the students arriving at our buildings. And finally, and most importantly, if your child is not feeling well, do not send them to school under any circumstances. The old adage of give them Tylenol and send them on the way does not work. As tough as this may sound, these requirements will safeguard everyone's health. As parents, we are requiring you to ensure these measures are always followed. We have some extremely useful tools to help you with this on our website. Please visit our Social Emotional Learning Resource Hub. You'll find access to the page on our homepage and on every school's homepage. If you look in the lower right-hand portion of the website page, that's where you'll find it. Now let's review the topics of many questions you've asked us to elaborate on. What does the start of the school year look like, and what does a typical day look like as well? The first 4 days of school, September 1st through September 4th, are now conference days. Those conference days are not days of attendance for our students. Again, the first week, September 1st through September 4th, are not days of attendance. They are conference days for our teachers, where we'll be doing a significant amount of professional development and allowing our teachers to start to prepare their lessons for the initial remote learning. September 8th through 18th, that's phase 1 of remote learning for all K-12 students. Teachers will engage students via synchronous and asynchronous remote instruction. Please note, this is because final preparation of buildings to accommodate student and staff attendance will be taking place in tandem with the State Department of Health and the State Education Department. Special education students during phase 1, students will follow their buildings plan for remote instruction. Phase 2, the week of September 21st, phase 2 is grades K through 5. These students return to school using a alternating day model. The district will be preparing a calendar for students to know what days they're supposed to attend. This week will be half days of in-person instruction combined with half days of remote instruction. Phase 2, grades 6 through 12, these students will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Special education students during phase 2, students in grades K through 5 who receive all of their special education services in a 15-1 special class setting will attend school in person every day for half a day. Students in grades K through 5 who receive consultant teacher support will follow their building schedule for alternate days as well, and they will be half days. Students in grades 6 through 12 will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Phase 3, the week of September 28th. Students will continue on an alternating schedule basis, and again, as we said before, we are going to prepare a calendar for students to know when they're supposed to be in session. These days will be full day live instruction. Phase 3, grades 6 through 12, students will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Our special education students during phase 3, those students in grades K through 5 who receive their special education support in a 15-1 special class will attend school in person every day for a full day. Students in grades K-5 who receive consultant teacher support will follow their building schedules for the alternating days, for full days. Students in grades 6 through 12 will continue to be fully remote with synchronous instruction. Finally, phase 4, the week of October 5th. K-12 hybrid model based on an alternating day of attendance for all of our K-12 students. Special education students during phase 4, students in grades K through 5 who receive their special education support in a 15-1 special class setting will attend school in person every day for a full day. Students in grades K-5 who receive a consultant teacher support will follow their building schedule for the alternating days. Students in grades 6 through 12 will follow an alternating schedule as well. Students in grades 9 through 12 who attend the Career Achievement Program will attend school on a daily basis. Related services will be provided both synchronously and asynchronously during all 4 phases. Menacing Valley will also incorporate a planned flex day on Wednesdays. That flex day will start on September 16th and we will reevaluate again on October 21st. The flex day will require students to connect with their teachers in the morning and have the opportunity to catch up on their work, also work with the teachers on needed information to help them with their lessons. The afternoons will be dedicated towards professional development for our teachers, and when our students are back in the building, The Wednesdays will be used for a deep cleaning of the building during the middle of the week. Thank you. This section is now health and safety. Our first question is define and review mask policy and mask breaks, and are there any exceptions? Our mask policy is this: everyone is required to wear a mask in Minisink Valley. If you are in the presence of others, you are required to wear a mask. Our mask breaks are going to be age appropriate and determined by our building level. We understand our little ones probably need more mask breaks than our older children do. But again, they will be often and available for our students to have those mask breaks. The question about are there any exceptions? The answer is no, except for a medical doctor providing a documented need for not having the ability to wear a mask. That is the only exception. The next question is, what happens if someone is diagnosed with COVID-19? What is our policy and what is the contact tracing policy? If you look on our website, on the top of our main website page, you will see both testing locations and COVID-19 contact tracing protocols that are put there with a Q&A from our Orange County Department of Health. We will be following all of the Orange County Department of Health guidelines with regard to notification of a positive COVID-19 case and all of the contact tracing requirements. Generally, if a teacher or student in a class is COVID positive, those students and teacher in that class will have to be quarantined for 14 days, as you will see in the Q&A in the guidelines from the Orange County Department of Health. Will there be any plexiglass dividers in the classrooms to separate children? Not at this time. Students are required to wear masks all the time and when they are at their desks in the classroom. We will be following all the Department of Health guidelines regarding social distancing. However, if it is needed to be reviewed in the future, we will do that. The next question is, will the school be supplied with extra hand sanitizing stations and soap for children? On the hand sanitizer, we will have hand sanitizer on every one of our teachers' desks, and at all of our entrance, we will have hand sanitized dispensers. Each one of our areas for our sinks have a soap dispenser already there. Next, how often will classrooms be disinfected? Classrooms will be disinfected when children change rooms, or nightly from classrooms when children remain in the same classroom for the entire day. Next, do all buildings have fresh air returns? Yes, and the fresh air volume to the buildings has been increased. The next question is, how do temperature checks work? As I said in my opening remarks, we have an expectation from our parents they perform a health check on their children prior to sending them to school every day. That information needs to be reported on the app that we are developing and working with right now. More information will follow from that. But we are requiring our parents to do that health check and temperature check prior to students coming to school. And as I've stated before, if your child is not feeling well, do not send your child to school. I cannot emphasize that enough. That comes from Dr. Little, our school physician. If your child is not feeling well, do not send your child to school. The next question is, how are bathroom breaks and cleanliness going to be managed? Our bathroom breaks will be managed by our teachers from their classrooms, and from the lunchrooms, our security and aid staff will be managing those heading out to the bathroom and those coming back in. With regard to cleanliness, we have custodians assigned during the day to each one of our buildings, and they are going to be cleaning our bathrooms and our high-touch surface areas throughout the day. Next, what are cleaning and sanitation procedures for classrooms and other high-use areas? Rooms will be cleaned every night, and they will be misted with a disinfectant. High-touch areas will be cleaned frequently throughout the day. Next, are you prepared enough to handle all of this? The answer is, we are prepared to handle all of the mandated guidelines put forth to us by the Department of Health and the State Education Department. The next question, if there is a cleaning and sanitizing day, how far in advance will parents be notified? As I've said, we are going to be having a flexible Wednesday starting on September 16th and going throughout the month of October to October 28th. We will reevaluate that on October 21st and alert our families if that is going to continue in through November. Next, will students be attending school 5 days a week once school begins? The answer is no. As we stated in the earlier part of this presentation, I have gone over the 4 phases of bringing students back into the building. However, once students do come back into the building, our students of special needs who are in a 15-1 for their entire day will be here 5 days a week. Next, what precautions will be made to teachers with underlying health conditions? Our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Mr. Michael Giardina, is already working with our faculty and staff who have notified him that they may have existing conditions that need to be addressed, and we are working to make all reasonable accommodations for our staff. Next, will teachers and staff have a baseline of testing? It is not required by the Department of Health, but it is not a bad idea for faculty and staff, and even for our students, to go and have a COVID test. What thresholds or triggers will cause the district to cease in-person learning? That will become from the Orange County Department of Health, the State Department of Health, the New York State Education Department, and our governor. They will tell us if we need to close. Next, in the middle school and high school, are students switching rooms to move to a different class, or are teachers moving to limit exposure? If the students are moving, what cleaning procedures will be put in place to limit the constraints? As I stated earlier, our middle school and high school students will be transitioning in the building. However, we will be cleaning in between the periods, and during the day, our custodians that are assigned to the buildings will be cleaning all of the high-touch surface areas throughout the day, along with cleaning our bathrooms throughout the day. Finally, do you have a plan to address cleaning school buildings' water supply for possible Legionnaire's disease prior to reopening? Our water supplies are tested monthly. In addition, the chlorine disinfection is tested daily. We are required to have those tests done every day and monthly, and we work with the Orange Ulster BOCES Safety Group, who oversees all of our testing procedures. Our next section is facilities. Our first question is, how will students arrive in each of the buildings? Well, each of the buildings are working on their plans as we speak, because we know we are going to be having a larger number of parents dropping off students. That information will follow, but we will have plans for each of our buildings on how to properly drop off your student and to pick up your student. Next, how will fresh air be brought into the room? Well, our fresh air will be brought in through our HVAC system per our usual operation. We have unit ventilators in each one of our rooms, and they have been turned up to accommodate for more fresh air coming into the building. The next question is, will fans be allowed? In our buildings, we are going to allow fans. However, those fans must be by the window, and only by the window, in order to draw more fresh air into the room. Next, how will classrooms be set up for safely administering instruction? We are following all of the Department of Health guidelines with regard to social distancing, and that is how we are setting up our rooms. And as an additional practice and safety, that is why we are having our students wear masks throughout the day. That is the recommended safest way to have students in the building. Social distancing and masks in place. Next, will the pool be open to students for phys ed class? The answer is, at this time, no for our phys ed classes. However, we're going to continually evaluate as we move through the year of whether or not we can utilize the pool as a teaching facility. Next, what improvements have been made to the air handling machines in the classrooms? They have been reconfigured to bring in additional fresh air, as I said before. Our last question is, how will students be entering the building for each of our buildings? Each of our buildings will be utilizing multiple entrances to lower the volume of students coming into the building at one time. Our buildings will communicate that to you in the next week or two so that you have that information prior to the students arriving. But again, we will be using multiple doors to bring the students in. Thank you.